I'm going to keep this straightforward because the real question most of us face is whether a front-load hot-holding cabinet like this actually makes life easier in a busy kitchen or just adds another piece of equipment we never use. If you're on the fence about spending money on a dedicated food pan carrier, you'll want to hear how it fits into everyday workflows, where the money is really saved, and the moments it can actually cause trouble. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First, let's talk about the hesitation that shows up in every review of commercial kitchen gear. Will this keep my food at the right temperature without eating up my prep space? The Cambro UPCH400192 is marketed as a H-series heated Ultra one-compartment front-load food pan carrier, which essentially means it's a single-chamber cabinet that you load from the front, and it's built to keep food hot enough to stay within HACCP guidelines. For a lot of small to medium operations caterers pulling a buffet line, a food truck crew serving a steady stream of tacos, or a school cafeteria needing to keep a few trays warm between service periods, those are the exact problems you're trying to solve. The first thing I noticed, after looking at the dimensions, about 26 inches deep, 18 inches wide, and just under 25 inches tall, is that it's compact enough to tuck into a narrow prep aisle or a mobile cart without crowding other equipment. The exterior is a muted granite green polyethylene, which isn't going to clash with stainless steel prep tables, and the color does a decent job of disguising the inevitable grease splatters you get in a high-turnover environment. Polyethylene is also lighter than a stainless shell, so when the unit is empty you can move it on a small pallet jack or even lift it onto a service cart with a single person. That portability is a practical strength you don't get from many larger, steel-framed hot-hold cabinets. Now, the front-load design is where the real usability advantage shows up. In a typical line service, you're constantly loading and unloading pans while people are already waiting for their meals. With a side door unit, you have to swing the whole door open, reach around, and sometimes awkwardly balance a pan on a shelf that may be too low or too high. The front load opens like a pantry drawer, letting you slide a full-size pan straight in, close the door, and walk away. In my experience watching a few small catering operations, that simple motion reduces the time a staff member spends in the hot zone by at least a few seconds per load, which adds up over the course of a lunch rush. It also means you can keep the cabinet against a wall without needing a clearance space for a swinging side door. On the flip side, the single compartment layout is a hidden trade-off. If you run a menu that needs both a hot holding section for soups and a separate zone for cooked vegetables, you'll have to juggle two units or keep one of the items on a separate steam table. The Cambro doesn't offer a temperature split, so the whole interior runs at the same set point. For a kitchen that only needs one hot zone, that's fine, but for anything more complex you'll quickly feel the limitation. That's a practical weakness that becomes obvious the moment you try to use it for more than one dish at a time. Another point that matters after the purchase is how the cabinet maintains temperature over longer periods. Cambro's H-series is engineered to stay within HACCP temperature thresholds, which is a solid promise for food service compliance. In real-world use, that translates to less worry about cold spots that could jeopardize food safety during a 3-hour buffet. The unit's heating element is built into the polyethylene shell, which distributes warmth evenly across the pan's surface. You won't see a fancy digital readout, but the unit does have a simple on-off switch and a thermostat dial that most kitchen staff can adjust without consulting a manual. The lack of a digital display is a minor inconvenience for those who like precise numbers, yet it also means fewer things that can break or need calibration. Weight when fully loaded is something to keep in mind. Polyethylene keeps the cabinet light when empty, but a full pan of chili or pasta can push the total weight to well over 150 pounds. The rollers on the bottom are sturdy, but you still need a clear path to move it, and the front load door can be a bit heavy to pull when the interior is hot. That's not a deal breaker for most, but it does mean you should plan the cabinet's placement near a service lane rather than deep in a cramped backroom. So, who should actually buy this? If you run a small catering business that does drop-off buffets, a food truck that needs a reliable hot hold for a single dish, or a school cafeteria that serves a consistent menu and needs to stay HACCP compliant without allocating a whole wall to a large steam table, the Cambro front-load carrier hits a sweet spot. It gives you a dedicated, insulated